Hey, kia ora. Helen Browns here, coming live from Sun City in Arizona. Hope you're having a super fantastic, sparkling day. Welcome to Before the Dirt Nap podcast and episode 1378. Yes, we're getting up there in numbers, getting closer to that 1461. And some of you are probably going, what's so important about 1461? That will be our 4-year anniversary. 4 years of doing daily lives in some form or another. That's been changed from lives to doing adventures to doing podcasts. It's 100 and, today we're doing 1,378 days of continual live events, if you want to put it that way. But anyway, welcome. Tonight on episode 1378, 10 plus fun things to do outdoors. I was trying to think of something and I got inspired to talk about connecting with nature. I love being outside. I love being in the outdoors, but it's a little on the hot side, right? Well, I guess not so much for today. Today they got up, it was today. Today they got up to 95 degrees Fahrenheit here in Arizona. So it was a little uncomfortable, but every time I take Zephy out for a walk, I absolutely love it because I'm outside in the fresh air. I really, really, really want to take my shoes off and just walk in the grass and scrunch my toes in the grass, but not around here because every dog within the pet area pees and poops on all the grass areas within this area of the resort. So yeah, that won't be happening. Won't be doing that one anytime soon. You never know what's going to be under the grass there. So I thought, what better way to come up with a list of things that we can do outside, having fun, that gets us out there communing with nature in some form or another, whether it's just outside enjoying the fresh air, whether it's actually taking part in something nature related. And how do you find these things? Well, first of all, how you find these things is look for clubs. If you're into, and when we go through some of these items on the list, some of them you'll be able to find them as a club in the local area or as a meetup group. So meetup is another way to find things to do outside. They have groups that will go running together, cycling together, walking together, hiking together, and so on and so on and so on, as far as that goes. So there are a lot of meetup groups out there in your local areas, and you'll get to meet local people that are in your area, and you may be walking. And there was one in San Diego where you go hiking with your dog, and it was a meetup group, and you could take your dog with you and go hiking on some of the trails and things together. I thought, well, that's a good idea. I didn't get to do that one though because we moved. When I found that one, I was like, oh, that would be good. But the next meeting was after the date we were leaving California, so it's like, okay, maybe next time. So look for clubs, for running clubs, walking clubs, hiking clubs, canoeing clubs, paddleboarding, all those sorts of things. Look for the same with meetup groups, and you'll find a wealth of information out there, a wealth of clubs out there that you can go join. And if you can't find one you like, start one. It's pretty simple, especially on Meetup. Very easy to do. So what are some outdoor activities? Now, some of these you may not have heard of before, or it could have been a long time since you've heard of, because I was just writing down a list, and I was putting stuff on there going, oh, I haven't done that. Oh, that was fun. Haven't done that for a while. And a while, a couple of decades. So I'm just going to go through. They are no particular, they're just in the order that they came out of my head. That's the order. It's just as they came out of my head. One thing inspired the next, and it just kind of snowballed. And so I have my list all written here. So number one on my list is orienteering. This is a great exercise on how, if you go out into the wilderness a lot or into trails and that sort of stuff, learning how to read a physical map and using a compass with it is such an incredible survival tool to have. I think anybody who goes hiking or goes hiking in any form, goes out in the wilderness and for any reason, needs to learn how to read a map and use a compass. Because it is such a helpful activity as well, because it can help pinpoint where you are. And then from there, you can either stay put, which is kind of what they tell you to do. If you get lost in the woods or anything, stay put. Create shelter and stay put. Don't go trying to correct everything. But still, I loved orienteering. We got to do a lot of it when I was in middle school. Our middle school or intermediate, if I slip up, our class was the first class in the region to go, in fact, I think in the whole country, to go and do an overnight stay on the mountain, Mount Taranaki. And one of the things that we actually got rained out the first night and dried out the next day and went back up the next day for a night. And that when we went back up, we did these hiking tours, and we had to be able to follow it with the compass and the maps. We were taught how to read the maps, we were taught how to read the terrain, how to read the compass, the directions and things. And then they actually set up, the next morning, our last morning there, they set up an orientation trail for us. And we had to, we were given the coordinates to get to the first clue. Then every clue you found after that gave you the coordinates to the next clue. And so you had to learn how to read that on the map, how to work the compass. And every time you got to the clue, it was a letter. And the letter spelled out a word. Or I think it was either a word or a phrase. I can't remember how long they made it. But it was a lot of fun scrambling through the bush there trying to find this. But the cool part of the way they did this is that we were always in sight of the camp. Always inside of the campground. None of our clues ever took us away from visual sight of the camp. So wherever the clues were pinned, we could always turn in a direction and see the camp. So we weren't too far away. Nobody got lost. A whole bunch of 11-year-olds, and none of us got lost. Go figure that one out. We all managed to find our way to the different compass points. We all got ourselves back to camp, and none of us got lost. We didn't have to send out search parties for anybody. And that's for a class of about 20 to 30 11-year-olds. So, yeah, we can do it. We can do it. Canyoneering or canyoning. And canyoneering, I like that sound better. This is when you travel through canyons and you can walk. Some of the trail you'll be walking, some of it you'll be abseiling down, cliff face. Might be swimming down a river. You may be climbing. You may be scrambling. So there's all different ways that you can get through the canyons and things. And there's a lot of places here in the US that do it. I know there's places in New Zealand that do it as well, especially down near Queenstown. They do a lot of canyoneering down there. But it's a great way to traverse a canyon. It's really cool and a lot of fun. This one here kind of all falls into the same thing as parasailing. That's when it's towed behind a vehicle, usually a boat, and you're up in the air there. And then you've got paraponting or paragliding, which is basically the same thing. And that is having your parapont or your paraglider. It's basically an elongated parachute, and you go running off a cliff. We used to go watching them in San Diego, and you go running off the cliff, and then you just sort of like soar on the airship, the airstreams, and they would go up the coast in San Diego or down the coast and out and all that sort of thing. Some of them may have had a little motor on them where they can help direct them and that sort of stuff. That looks like a lot of fun. I have not done that, but it looks like a lot of fun. Hang gliding. That's having the triangular shaped sail with the triangular piece underneath, and you hang onto the bar. You put your feet in the sling in the back, and you go running off the cliff first. Then you put your feet in the sling at the back, and you use the airstreams again to glide around the area and then safely land. Number 5 on my list is hiking. You can hike just about anywhere. If there is a trail, you can hike up mountains, you can hike through forests, you can hike along along coastlines, you can hike, there's even city hikes that you can do. There's a lot of different places that you can go hiking. Through parks, national parks. Number 6, camping. One of my favorites. Go out camping. Getting a little old to get on the ground though on a mattress, but I always enjoy camping. Putting up the pup tent, having the thin mattress that you would unroll, putting the sleeping bag on it. Although when we went camping up on the mountain, you didn't have those little thin mattresses. It was sleeping bag on top of the ground sheet, on top of the ground. It was ground sheet, sleeping bag. That was it. You didn't even have a pillow, so you had to make pillows out of your clothes. We took pillowcases with us, and then we stuffed clothes into our pillowcases to create a pillow. That's how we camped. But always love camping because you're out there in nature, and then you have, and if you're in a campground or something, you have a place where you can do like an open fire, and you can cook sausages on sticks. You can do, what are those things? The gooey things. S'mores. The gooey things, s'mores. I just like toasted marshmallows. Toasted marshmallows and sausages cooked over an open fire. We're good. Number 7, fishing. Now you can do fishing, ocean fishing, you can do river fishing, you can do lake fishing, you can go trout fishing, which is with rods and flies. That is one technique of fishing I have never learned. I have done surf casting. I have done fishing off a pier. I've done fishing off a boat? Actually, no, I don't think I have. I haven't done deep sea fishing. But I'm one of those people that I love to fish, but it's a 2-person job when I go fishing because I am happy to bait the hook. I will throw the line overboard. I will sit there and fish or wherever. But if I catch a fish, somebody else has to take it off the hook, has to do all of the cleaning and gutting of it and filleting of it, and then I will cook it. 2-person job. That's why I haven't been fishing in years because I haven't had anybody to go fishing with who can do that middle portion. Biking, getting on a bike, either mountain biking or just regular biking around a city, around a park. There's a lot of biking trails throughout the US that you can go to. I know in New Zealand we have a ton of biking trails. One of the ones down there they've got is the old Otago Railroad, and it used to be a railway line, and they pulled up all the tracks and turned it into not a paved, but a more, they may have paved some of it, I don't know. I have to ask my parents. I know they've done this trail, but they made it so that you could go biking on it, and you went biking through the tunnels and all of that, and they loved doing that particular trail where the train tracks used to go. Kayaking and canoeing. This is another one. People like to go. You can go kayaking and canoeing on lakes and rivers, on the ocean. You can do sea kayaking. In New Zealand at Abel Tasman National Park, you can actually go sea kayaking, and they take you into this, and one of the tours will take you into this bay. It's a guided one where they take you into this bay, and the bay is known to have New Zealand seal furs, which are just these little fur seals, just these little seals, and you get warned beforehand that this may happen, and you get told what to do if it does, and that is that you could kayak into the bay there. You're sitting there, and these little fur seals will actually hop up onto your kayak, and they're going to say hi, and they'll either hop up behind you or in front of you. So don't panic if that happens. But there are, Mother Nature just wants to come out and say hi. How are you? Number 10, rock climbing. Now this can be done either with forgotten the names of the thing, the ropes and the carabiners, or it can be done freestyle. Completely up to you which you want to do, which you are more comfortable with, what you know. Please remember safety, 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 safety. Number 11, wildlife watching, and this could be whale watching animals in their habitat. So like if you're on a safari in Africa, you're watching the wildlife over there in their natural habitat. You could go bird watching. There's another one you can do is bird watching. Whales is always fun. I love watching the whales. You're right out there in the middle of the ocean and you're watching whales. It's fantastic. Going for now we're getting really simple. Going for a picnic. Pack lunch, go for a drive, find a scenic view, and have a picnic. It's as simple as that. Or just go down to a local park. You don't want to, make some sandwiches or make some salads or something and throw them into a picnic hamper and go off down to the park and have it down there. And some parks will have like little barbecues, and you just got to take the charcoal with you to cook up on the barbecue. Maybe you could have a cookout at the park and sit there on the park bench, on the picnic tables and stuff like that. Or if you want to, put your blanket down on the grass and sit on it and have your picnic there. Number 13, geocaching. This is Brad and I were going to get into it at one point, but I can't remember why we didn't. But this is something my parents were big on with my with my nephews when they were growing up. And you go onto different websites and you find out the area that you're going into, and it gives you like the coordinates to find these geocaches, which are these hidden treasures. And you can go along, and some of them will have tags on them that you take a picture of or take a note of. And there's these, but you can't and they call them muggles, which is just an everyday person walking up the trail. If you're looking for the geocache, you're looking for the cache, and you see people coming along, you just sit down. They're the muggles going past. Yeah, so my oldest nephew actually fell off a tree log one time because he was laughing so hard about the muggles walking past. I don't know what was amusing about them, but I think he almost got caught looking for the cache. But you find the treasures, and you can either take what's there and leave something. Some of them will have tags on them, like, take a picture of this and post it on the website, or go to this website and post where you found it, and things like that. And people will just take something, leave something, and then they'll take that one and put it at the next geocache that they go to, and then they'll take something out of that. So they actually only start with one thing, and then the other ones that they move around. And there's geocaching all around the world. So even if you're traveling overseas and things like that, there are geocaches that you can go looking for while overseas. So take a souvenir from your country that you can leave behind and put a tag on it that says, hey, please take a picture of this, post it in social media, and use this hashtag, or something like that you can do as well. Great way to get outdoors as well. And you've got your little GPS, and you use a GPS unit to find the cache, because you type in the coordinates and off you go and find it. Photography, going outside and taking photographs of things that even just something as simple as, and I have done this around the resort, when you're out walking, because everybody, when it's full season, they have like these really cool things out front of their park models. And there's one that I like. It's a rock, but it's painted like a ladybird, and it looks like it's down and out. So I actually took a picture of that, and I now use it on Get Well cards. So there's all sorts of things that you can use. They have all these different statues, these different things that are up on the wall. You just take pictures of them and, see how many different things you can find. It's putting you in the moment and making you aware of your surroundings. And it could be something like you're going out and you're taking photographs of nature. My favorite thing to do is look for weird trees. Weird trees. These are the ones that don't grow tall and straight, although I will take pictures of those because some of them are pretty cool. But these are ones that will have like a little hole somewhere in it, or there's ones that I have gotten where the way the tree roots grew and then the trunk grew out of it, it created like these little doorways into the tree goblins' houses, or the tree elves' houses. And yeah, on where were we? Hilton Head Island. We're driving along one of the roads there, and they had some of the trees that had these different sort of like nooks and crannies in them, and I would take a picture of it, and Brad would go, "What are you doing?" I says, "Oh, that's Mr." And I'll tell him the name of that tree elf. I go, "That's a tree elf's house, and that's where Mr. or Mrs. blah 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 lives." And he would just look at me and go, "Aha." But look for different things in nature. Maybe it's a beautiful flower that you see. Take a picture of it. Go for a walk through botanical gardens. There's gorgeous, and of course you're coming into spring. You're in springtime right now, or towards the end of spring. But there are some phenomenal floral displays on right now, where you could go up and take pictures of beautiful flowers and things like that, just to remind just to say that you did it. You took this really cool picture, and you can do something with it later on, maybe. Number 15, stargazing. Oh my gosh, I could stargaze for hours. I really could. I like going out where you can get away from the light pollution of the city or the town, and you go out into the countryside. I have done this before. I've done this many times. When I was growing up, when I was in high school, we had a cemetery over our back fence, and they had this part of the cemetery that was just a gentle slope. And myself and my friends, there's a group of us teenagers that hang out together. We would all just lay on the grass in the cemetery on the slope piece, and we had a perfect view of the stars up there. And we would find different shapes in this. We had no idea what the constellations were. We knew the Southern Cross, and we knew the 2 pointers, and that was it. That was the pot one, the dipper. We could find the dipper as well. But that was about all of our knowledge. We just laid there and we looked up and go, "Oh, look, I can see da 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 da," and you point out the different stars. And like, "Oh yeah, I can see that too." Lots of fun. And if you can, but you want to be outside doing this with the naked eye. And if you get to go with a group with an astronomy club, they go out there with all sorts of telescopes, and some are home built, some are not. And you get to see some really cool things. We did that with one of the comets that came through years ago when we were living in Virginia. Number 16, yes, not long away, sweetie girl. Number 16, horseback riding. Go for a horseback ride. There are plenty of places around that will have horses that you can hire, and they have trail, and they will take you on a guided trail. You may not be able to walk the next day if you're not used to riding horses, but it's a lot of fun. Yes, ask me how I know. Number 17, swimming, going to a lake or a river or a swim hole or a place that has outdoor swimming pools. Just spend some time in the water, the ocean, spend time in the water. And if you've got swimming and you're at the ocean or something, you can always throw in there surfing as well, or boogie boarding, or what other ones can you do in the water? I don't remember. It's body surfing, surfing, boogie boarding, foraging. This is one you can find some clubs and meetup groups that will do this, where you go for treks into the local forest areas or the bushes and stuff, and you learn about the different plants that are in there that are edible and the ones that are not. And you can come back with some great foods and make up some wild salads. Number 19, stand-up paddle boarding. That's always a fun thing. I have not tried that. I do not have a strong enough core to stay on board one of those things. But I watched plenty of people do it when I was in the Cook Islands, in our group that we were with. Number 20, outdoor meditation. If you usually meditate, find somewhere in the middle of a park or in the forest where you can just sit down and you can just meditate, or even do outdoor yoga. It's another one as well. Number 21, rafting. Whether it's a slow river that you just, on tire tubes and you're just drifting down the river, whether it's whitewater rafting, that's another way that you can get out into the outdoors. Number 23, watching the clouds. Sorry, number 22, I apologize. Number 22, watching the clouds. This is something I used to love doing as a kid, just laying there in the backyard and just watching the clouds go by. What shapes could we see? Even today, if I see a really cool cloud formation, I will take a picture of it, post it on Facebook and go, what can you see? And it's interesting to see the different things, from what I saw, and then people coming up with what they see. And I'm like, really? And I go back and have a look at the picture and go, oh yeah, I see how they see that. Number 23, go to a park for a day. Whether it's outside watching a ball game, it could be a major league game that you're watching, one of the professional sports, like I was going to say football. Yeah, football, NFL, soccer, baseball, volleyball, beach volleyball, something outside, watching kids play their sports, or even just going to a park for a day where there's playgrounds and the kids are out there playing on the playgrounds, or they have those, you can go to some parks where they have those big, expensive, all-purpose fields and things, and you might pick up and you do a pickup game of whatever with your friends and stuff. You kick around a soccer ball, or toss around a football, or throw baseballs, that sort of stuff, frisbees, that sort of thing. Number 24, volunteering. And this is volunteering like going and planting trees, doing conservation efforts, helping with trail maintenance. Sometimes they ask for volunteers to come and help maintain a trail. Building homes with, was it Homes for Humanity? Is that the one? Habitat. Is it Habitat or Homes for Humanity? There's plenty of charities out there that are building homes. You could go there and do that as well. And then the last one, which is one of my favorite ones, and this is one of my all-time favorites. Hug a tree, or two, or three, or four. But just go out and just hug a tree. And when you hug the tree, put your ear against it and just close your eyes. And it's almost like a meditation that you go into, and just be there in the moment with that tree as you hug it, and you're listening to it. And sometimes you can hear them breathe. And you're probably going, no, there are a ton of scientific surveys out there that talk about praising a plant, insulting a plant, and the differences in their growth patterns. Like where they have put plants underneath those glass bell things, and in one they have piped really loud rock music and stuff. The other one they've given them gentle, calm music, and they and then the one with the rock music, the heavy rock music, they will take the lid off and they will insult the plant, and then put the thing back on, and then they'll go to the other one and they open it and they praise it and love on it and things like that. They all get fed the same things at the same, get fed their foods at the same time and all of that. But they've also done things where they can communicate with trees, where trees can communicate with each other through something to do with the root system and things like that. And there's all sorts of studies of that, like trees will turn around and say, somebody, there's like an animal coming that likes to eat that tree. And so it sends out the little SOS signal among things. But trees like to be hugged. They love to be loved. And it's just it's a very releasing and very freeing thing to do is to go hug a tree. It's one of my favorite pastimes to do is just go hug a tree. Just stand there and just lean on it, wrap your arms as far around it as you can get, depending on how big the tree is. Put your ear against the bark so you can listen to the tree, and just close your eyes and just breathe in and breathe out and listen to the tree. So there's 25. I didn't know how many I was going to do. That's why I put 10 plus. There's 25 ideas on things that you can do outdoors. What are some of your favorite things to do outdoors? Let us know in the comments below. Always looking, always open and looking for different things. Some of these things on here I have tried. Some of these things I have not done. But who knows? Maybe one day I will. But anyway, go out, have a super fantastic sparkling evening. Remember to leave in the comments below what some of your favorite outdoor activities are, so that we can inspire others. So I hope you found this list inspiring, and I hope with the comments that come along with this that others will find inspiration in your ideas for outdoor activities as well. So go out, have a super fantastic sparkling evening, and we'll catch you guys back here tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. Pacific. He konera.